Hey guys, it's Kirby the Bookish Nurse and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about some of the things I read during our back to school-a-thon readathon. This is going to be a quick little wrap-up video. I read 4 books during the back to school-a-thon readathon. Some of them I really loved and some of them were just, they were okay. Overall though, it was a great time. So let's jump in. The first prompt of the readathon was all girls sleepover. So this prompt was supposed to be about all things ladies supporting ladies. And for this prompt, I read LumberJanes. This one I struggled with a little bit in the beginning because of the art style. The story was super fun. I only read the first issue, but the story was really fun. It was this group of kind of outcasty type girls in a summer camp. We follow kind of like the bad cabin who sneaks out after curfew and does the things they're not supposed to do. But at this summer camp, unbeknownst to the girls, there are supernatural happenings in the forest surrounding the summer camp. So I'm definitely going to continue with this series because I need to know. I need to know what happens. Like I said, I only read the first issue, but it was really fun after I got used to the kind of chaotic illustration style. The second prompt was your first day outfit. So pick the prettiest book on your TBR. For this one, I picked the book Glitter by April Lynn Pike. When I first started this book, it was weird. It was weird. And I almost, at about 30%, I almost DNF'd this book. But I'm so glad that I didn't, because it was so much. It was just drama and backstabbing and drug dealing. If y'all liked the show Breaking Bad, you'll probably like this book. But okay, the setup, which honestly, if you read the inside cover flap thing, it'll tell you there. For some reason, it didn't click until I was reading it, and that's why it was so weird. But okay, there's a big corporation that bought a castle in France, and that's where all of its employees live. And it kind of reminded me of like CenturyLink or Google or some big corporation who has communities for its employees. Like all the employees live in this one spot and they have their own doctor and their own grocery stores and their own everything right there on the compound. That's kind of what it reminded me of. So it's kind of freaky because I was like, oh, well, I mean, I guess that's the next step for Amazon. But anyway, they built this castle in France, or they bought this castle in France rather, and all their employees live there, and they all live like it is the 17th century within this castle. And kinda, they say they live like it's the 17th century, but in reality they have like bots that do maid things. They like clean and help them get dressed and whatever. But outside of the castle, it's the 22nd century. So it's actually set in the future, even though we are living in the past. It was so strange, but it was really interesting. The king is the CEO of this company. Any type of mind-altering substance is strictly like punishable by death, forbidden. A whole bunch of blackmailing goes on, and our main character ends up betrothed to the king in the first chapter. She ends up betrothed. The king is a terrible, terrible person. She does not want to be with him. She's trying to find a way out. And through some things that happen, she ends up with this substance called glitter. Glitter is one of those mind-altering substances. It reminded me a lot of like fentanyl, where it takes just a little tiny bit. And that's all you need. That's all you need. If you get more than that, you're probably going to die. Super easy to overdose on. And she kind of has to learn the chemistry of how to do this. And that was interesting to watch. She kind of built herself a little a little empire before it all comes crashing down. It really reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad. So if you liked that show, you'll probably like this book also. The third book I read was for the prompt of a book set in a school setting. For this book, I read Ace of Spades. This book blew my mind. I already spoke about it a little bit in a previous video, but it blew my mind. I was questioning. They told me who the bad guy, who the suspect was, about 3/4 in, and I was still like, but are you sure? But are you sure that's all? Like, who is the ringleader though? Like, I loved this. I gave it 5 stars. I thought that it hit so many topics so very, very well outside of the mystery. It touched on racism, classism, feminism, so many things. There was some grief that was discussed. There was just outside of the mystery, which was also phenomenal. It hit so many things very, very well. I feel like a lot of books that try to say the points that this one made say it in a way that it's not super digestible to someone who doesn't come from a background that can easily understand it. But this book, I felt like, was able to cover all of these topics in a very digestible, very understandable way. I feel like people that, even if you have no experience with the negative side of racism, classism, sexism, xenophobia, if you don't have any experience with any of that, I still feel like you can read this book and understand where they're coming from and how impactful some of these things can be when directed at someone. Overall, 5 stars. It was great. I think everyone should read this book. The final book that I read was a book by your favorite author. And for this one, I chose Holly Black. I was going to read Tithe because I've just never gotten around to reading that yet. But I ran out of time. So I picked up a graphic novel that she wrote and someone else illustrated called The Good Neighbors. I read the first book. I think it was called Ken. And it's about a girl whose mom has went missing and they are accusing her dad of murder. While at the same time, one of his students has also been found dead. So he's not looking real great. He's looking a little sketchy. But she just knows, my dad would never do something like that. And then she starts seeing things and she discovers that there's a whole nother kind of world inside of or under their own of fae. Anybody who's read Holly Black knows that she talks about fairy, the land of fairy, quite often, and she does it very, very well. And it's the same in this story. She did not disappoint. The illustrations were beautiful and they matched kind of the tone of the story very, very well. Everything was just kind of slim and it was all black and white and it was kind of like, it was good. If you have a chance, I've never heard of this even though I've read a lot of Holly Black, I've never heard of this story. So if you get a chance, you want to read a graphic novel, I do suggest this one. It was very good and very easy to get sucked into. I know that was pretty short, but that's all I have for you today. If you like this content and you want to see more, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I post videos every week, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye.